My jealous sister-in-law made a comment about my dead daughter, and everyone is telling me to forgive her. My wife and I have been together for 5 years, and we have always known that we wanted a big family. Because we were Christian, we didn't start until after marriage. She got pregnant 3 months after we were married, and we had our first baby boy. Only a year later after our first was born, we had our daughter. A year after that we had our second son, and finally 2 years after that we had our second daughter. However, this pregnancy was different from the last ones. During this pregnancy, my wife was constantly complaining about her back pains, and how she was constantly sore all the time. During the delivery, the doctors realized that she had a tumor in her uterus, and they had to do immediate surgery. Luckily, my wife made it out incredibly healthy and well, but the doctors informed us that it would be impossible for us to have any more kids. She had postpartum depression after finding this out because she felt like she was letting me down and not giving me the big family I wanted. But I assured her that it was absolutely fine. Even with my constant reassurance, her depression didn't get any better for a couple more months. She was supposed to get maternity leave for only 3 months, but decided to stay for 7 months. I decided to reach out to my brother because we were very close. He has always been a great role model and older brother to me. However, his wife seems to not like me or my wife for some reason. She is always comparing her kids to ours and making comments about how unhealthy our firstborn boy's life is, since he is already a national chess master. She says that he should be enjoying his life doing kid stuff, not on some geeky board. But we have already had this conversation with our son, and he absolutely loves chess, and the fact that he is good at it doesn't change anything in his average life. She also likes to make comments about my daughters as well, but me and my wife don't seem to mind for the most part. My brother says it because she is pregnant, so she is being emotional. My brother helped us out a lot with general things around the house, which made life a lot easier. Now, I absolutely love my wife, and she is the greatest human and mother to live on the face of this planet. However, she would sometimes be a bit uncautious with the kids. This didn't happen with our first baby, but I think with all her emotions bottled up after the second pregnancy, it made her a bit emotionally preoccupied. Sometimes she would forget the stove was on, and I had to turn it off to make sure the house didn't explode, but I never told her about how she needed to be a bit more aware because I knew she was already struggling with so much. That's when it happened. One day while I was at work, my wife decided to take the kids to the park. My daughter got hit by a car, and after 6 hours of emergency surgery, she sadly did not make it. My wife doesn't have a good recollection of what happened, nor do I want to talk about it on this platform, but it was the most traumatic experience of my life. My wife and I have been dealing with it for the past 4 months, and even though we are suffering inside, we have to keep up for our kids. Now, this is also about the time that my brother's wife invited all of our family to a pool party at their place. My wife and I thought it would be a good idea for our kids to socialize with their cousins. My whole family was there, and they were all extremely supportive of me and my wife. They all gave their condolences and were super polite about it, except for my brother's wife. Apparently, according to my brother, it was again just the fact that her emotions were out of whack because of her pregnancy, but my wife never acted like this. Still, we all tried to enjoy ourselves, and the kids were certainly having a great time at my brother's gigantic pool. That's until the kids started playing pranks on us. The kids pushed me into the pool while I was by the edge. I did think this was funny, but then they started taking things too far by damaging me and my wife's brand new Tesla. We calmly explained to all of the kids, including my nephews, why these types of pranks were not acceptable. In the middle of me lecturing them, my brother's wife stepped in and started shouting at me and my wife. She told us that we have no grounds to talk to their children, and that it was probably all my children's fault anyway. My wife obviously was not having it, and said that the children were the ones that actually did the damage. Things escalated more and more until some other family members came to see the commotion. That's when my brother's wife dropped a bomb and said, "Maybe this is why your daughter is dead." My wife started crying and left, whereas I stayed and demanded an explanation. What happened next was even crazier though.